Hey friends, Liz here to invite you to check out our Patreon. That's where we publish extra episodes every other week, and that's also where we will continue any series we're reading. So if you liked our coverage of ACOTAR, Guild, High Mountain Court, or Fourth Wing, check out our Patreon to continue those series along with us. We also let you know what we're reading each month in advance in case you want to read along with us too. There might be a few other surprises throughout the year for our patrons as well. You can get all of this for just $3 a month, so check it out and we would really appreciate the support. Anyway, on to today's episode.
Welcome to Your Safe Space, the podcast your partner, friends, parents, whoever thinks is dirty. Don't have time to read books? Want to understand the jokes in the TikToks? We got you, fam. We're the Spice Traders, and we deal in spicy books. I'm Katie, and I need it to make sense.
I'm Liz, and I'm hypercritical. As always, we start every episode with 3 things. The first is a generic trigger warning. You can find specific triggers for this book in our show notes, so please check those out. Also, we do use foul language and talk a lot about sex. If you have sensitivity to any of this, please give this episode a skip.
Secondly, we talk about books. The whole book, nothing but the book, so help me goddess. If you plan to read this book and don't want something spoiled right now, don't listen to this episode.
Lastly, we acknowledge that a good book can hit you at the wrong time. The views expressed in our discussion are our opinion, and we absolutely don't want to diminish the work and the talent of the authors in our community. That said, we have some notes. Katie, what are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about part 2 of Avalon Tower by C.N. Crawford, and part 2 comes after part 1, so if you have not read the book or listened to part 1, do one of those things. This part will cover chapters 16 through 32, and then part 3 will finish the book, and then we'll do our ratings then. So tune back in 2 weeks. So when we last left our girl Nia, she was boarding a train on the way into Fae-occupied France. And she's on this train like she's fucking Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, girl. Like, wild.
Scaling the sides, the top. Like, it's the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible visual is exactly what I had in my head.
I also, like, I have a little bit of, like, Kronk in Emperor's New Groove vibes when he's, like, doing his own theme music.
Dun, 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 dun. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like Nia's terrified and like totally out of her element, but I feel like there's a little bit of her that has like a theme music playing in the background. Just like, this is kind
for
of badass.
Sure. I'm writing that down because I love that visual and I want to use it in the socials.
So Nia's on top of this train and she decides that she has to get inside. So she finds a hatch and plummets to the floor of a cargo car. In the process, she severely sprains her ankle and now she's effectively hobbled. So she can't really run. She doesn't have a horse. She's got to figure this shit out on her own. But she doesn't have a whole lot of time to think about it because she's quickly interrupted and joined by a Fae security guard who asks her who she is. It's clear that somebody saw somebody boarding the train illegally and that's what he's looking for. But Nia is glamored to look like a Fae, and so she uses that opportunity to throw suspicion on a phantom other stowaway who attacked her. So she's basically like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. I was attacked. They went back the other way, like, help me. And the guard takes the bait, hook, line, and sinker.
Which is brilliant.
It was so brilliant. She's surprisingly good at the spy thing.
Yeah, this kind of comes up later when we get into her powers, but I think it has something to do with her like mind reading ability.
I think so too. I think she's able to like easily read what people want. Like,
yeah.
Like we've talked about a couple of times with her and other characters about how she's good at telling people what they want to hear. But I think that is like kind of a subconscious use of her power.
I think so too, that she's just not aware of it. It's not active, but kind of seeing like, oh, this will work on this person.
Right. Exactly. So Nia is able to move to the next car, but she's really out of place there in her hunting gear that is now smeared with grime because this is a dining car and these are fancy Fae people. So
she looks gross.
She looks gross and awkward. So she uses the same ruse in that car and the next with waning degrees of success. But finally, she gets to a luggage car, which allows her to change clothes and kind of blend in more easily. Guards then chase her further into the train until she gets to another cargo car. But here, there's a wolf in a cage, and so she uses that to her advantage.
I was a little like, okay, so there's a wolf in a cage, but it's almost like the whole car is a cage, because then she's in the cage with the wolf and has to escape the cage and the car. And I was like, how did you get in the cage?
So I think it's like the she's trapped in the car, but the cage takes up most of the car. But I don't think she ever gets in the cage with the wolf. She just like has to move around it.
That makes sense. But then how does the wolf kill the guard that comes in? I guess through the bars. The wolf is tight enough.
She lets it out. She definitely lets it out.
Oh, I forgot she lets it out. Okay, wait. That's why I was like, where are the bars of this cage?
Who's in the cage? How do you get in the cage? I have so many questions.
And I think I was just reading at the top of my lungs because it's very exciting. And I was just like, it's fine.
I also have questions about, like, is this someone's pet? Like, why is there a wolf on? It's fine.
I don't know. Is it a werewolf? Like, what's happening? Is this a fairy
it's
wolf?
A big wolf. It's not like a regular. I mean, I know wolves are bigger than dogs, but like this is described as being as tall as Nia.
It's like a monstrous creature.
Yeah. So, like we said, she lets this wolf out, like, to have at the guards, and she like goes to the next train and like bars the door. In this next train, it's another dining car, and so she sits down to have a meal like a regular Fey noble and like kind of catch her breath, because remember, homegirl's got asthma and she's got a sprained ankle, and so she's rough.
Just struggle
bus. She's in rough shape. So she sits there and kind of tries to relax until the next stop, where she leaves the train in search of her comrades. She finds them just as they are riding into town and tells them that they are riding into a trap. Raphael sends the other two to scout while he heals Nia and gets more information from her, like, how would you know that, girl?
Yeah, and how the fuck did you get here?
Right. When she mentions the name of the person, Varys, Raphael knows that she must be telling the truth and not crazy and not just kind of blowing smoke, because it's the name of their contact that only Raphael knows. Nia gets really uncomfortable when the feeling of his magic makes her feel feelings, and she gets snippy about it. And Raphael responds by telling her that she's wound really tightly and she needs to relax. And Nia tries to stick to her truth that he's hurt her before and she shouldn't be fooled again.
I wonder if his healing magic makes everyone feel feelings, or if it's just like the two of them.
I had that same thought, and so does Nia at some point. She's like, wow, this is really inconvenient. I think she also wonders, like, does he know this is how it makes people feel?
Yeah, is he leading into this, or is it kind of uncomfortable for him? Like, what's going on here?
But I don't know the answer to that question yet, but I wonder if it's like his magic reflects how he feels about somebody.
Oh, I could see that. So like if he doesn't really care about you, the healing's just kind of perfunctory.
Right. But
or
if he does care about you,
it gets all warm and tingly.
So they're interrupted when the other two come back, and they confirm that something is definitely weird and wrong, and so they all decide to abandon the mission and ride for the Vale once more. On their way, though, they are beset by Fey soldiers with arrows. Arzel is felled by one, and these soldiers chase them all the way back to the Vale. Nia manages to disarm the Vale for them to go through, but she depletes herself in the process and goes into hypothermic shock from the loss of magic.
Awkward.
Nia is in and out of consciousness as they make their way back to Camelot by boat. She dreams of her memories, some real, some not. We learn more about how she met Raphael when she was a teenager and envied how beautiful he and his demi-fae friends were. She wanted to be one of them. Then, one day, he spoke to her, and they bonded over their love of knowledge and books. Raphael told Nia about winemaking and then kissed her one day in the golden afternoon amongst the grapevines. But she tells us that after that kiss, she found out who he really was when he ghosted her.
We'll get more on that.
More on that later. I really felt I feel like sometimes, let me back up. I really felt how Nia described like that memory. And I feel like this author does a really good job of communicating really clearly and succinctly like how that feeling is without like overcomplicating it. Like she literally writes, Nia wanted to be one of these people. And like, that is such a relatable concept for me.
It is. And then to like build on that by then being rejected by those people. And we get this memory in a few different ways and a few different times, and every time it was so relatable. It really speaks to so much of who Nia has become in relation to Raphael and outside of him. But like such a like character making moment and so relatable.
Totally. It's a, what do they call it? Like it's a canon moment or a core memory I can't interrupt.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. And I was like, I couldn't remember that word I was getting for the core memory canon moment. Yeah. And like, we've all been there. We've all been rejected, right? Like,
yeah.
It's so good.
And like, you have to do that to be who you are, but man, does it suck.
Oh, it does. It sucks so much. I was also going to comment that the author does a really good job of giving us this without feeling like she's beating us over the head with it or making it like a really complicated traumatic backstory. Like, Nia has a pretty normal backstory. Like, her mom's a drunk. She was ghosted by this dude at 16. Kind of feeling like an outsider. Like, it's just comparatively to other books we've read, it's not like, oh, I was abandoned as a child and then also made to sleep in a box in a wall, and also I had to do Child Fight Club. And I liked the realistic grounding in an otherwise really fantastical world.
Totally. And I also like how the author, because like you said, we see this memory a couple of different times, and it doesn't feel like we're being beat over the head of it. It just feels like, you know, she's spending a lot of time with Raphael, and so the last time that she saw him is top of mind for her, right? And it's just like it's really well woven into the story. Yeah. So when Nia finally does wake up, she realizes that she's being snuggled by Raphael, ostensibly for warmth. He tells her that Nia depleted herself because she disabled the entire veil, not just the part that they needed to go through. Whoops. Nia kind of gets really uncomfortable really fast, and she tells him, well, I'm warm now, and that ends the snuggle session.
Come on.
Raphael goes on to tell her that she has two powers, and Nia realizes that she is in danger of going mad like others before her because she has diametric magic. The voices that she hears in her head are actually the inner thoughts of people around her. So in this system, two magical traits destabilize each other rather than complementing each other. Raphael tells her that they need to suppress her telepathy, but Nia instantly hates that idea, even if she doesn't fully understand why.
This will come up a little bit later, but I kind of had some questions on her telepathy because later it's told to us that she has to touch people to hear their thoughts, but she's been hearing thoughts her whole life without touching people. So it's almost like, and maybe this makes sense, as she's inadvertently practicing this power, it's getting honed in more.
Mm-hmm.
But it bothered me a little bit that you tell me later you have to be touching someone, where I'm like, but I know that's not true.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too. And I had to take it as like she's trying to figure it out, because it definitely is the case that like she can hear people more easily when they touch her or she touches them.
Yeah.
But to your point, like this guard or the guy that wanted to rape her on this mission that gave her the name Varys, like he wasn't touching her when she read his mind.
Weren't touching. But then we get into, okay, this is more like part 3, but there's a fight scene where she's like intentionally touching someone. So maybe it's just clearer, which she does say, like when people have like louder thoughts, like I can hear it when I'm not touching them. It just felt like you gave me this hard rule that I know isn't true. Mm-hmm. And it didn't take away from the story, but it bugged me a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. I did really like how magic is described in this system as like the way that she uses it, and even the way that she begins to see her magic, like the way that it evolves as she understands it more and like gets better practiced at like using it. Like I thought it was a very unique system.
It was. And like seeing the colors and kind of the texture of it internally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the limits to it was really cool. It's really well done.
So we'll get more on that a little bit later in part 2. But obviously Nia pulls through from this hyperthermic magic depletion, and 3 months later we see her practicing archery. She tells us that it's one of the only things that makes the world fall away and be silent for her. And it turns out she's rather good at it. We learn that since the mission in France, Vivian has stopped treating Nia like a traitor waiting to happen. Nia feels like she's making good progress in most subjects except physical combat, and in general, she's falling into a regular rhythm at Camelot. She's jostled out of her thoughts, though, by Tarquin, who's still there, to which Nia retorts, quote, "Don't you have some serfs to harass or something?" So he's still an asshole.
He's the worst. I want him to die.
Yeah. Speaking of being the worst, he goes on to insult her, and Nia tries to get a handle on her temper. Serana actually has to hold her back from an actual fight, telling her that it wouldn't be worth it. And eventually Nia tells Tarquin to piss off because he's just jealous that she's been on missions and he's done fuck all.
Suck it, Tarquin.
So Nia and her friends then all head to a courtyard to eat and practice their spy awareness. They are all very aware that the culling is very close. Serana and Nia are decent at being aware, but Tana gets mixed up between reality and her visions. Tana very much sees like past, present, and future as one. And so she'll see people in the courtyard or in wherever she is that aren't really there in that particular time.
Yeah. And she'll even reference like, fine, that I'm seeing this person who was here 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 100 years from now. I don't know.
They go on to talk about Nia's telepathy and how on the surface it doesn't seem like a bad thing for her to have two powers. But there's a history of Fae with two powers becoming deranged and dangerous, which I had a question about. Like, that feels like propaganda.
It does feel like propaganda because as we move through this, it's like, okay, you can't have two, so you have to suppress one. But to me, someone who does not have powers, feels like the act of suppressing one would be the thing that drives you mad.
Right, exactly. Well, and like the examples that they use of people going mad, quote unquote, because they had multiple powers were on the opposite side of history, right?
Yeah.
So were they mad or were you just told something? Because nobody was alive when that happened.
Exactly. Like they're just the quote unquote bad guys.
Right.
So therefore they must have gone mad.
Right. And we'll see pretty soon that Nia doesn't, I mean, she struggles with it, but like she's not going mad.
No. Not at all. She's fine. And if anything, now that she understands what those voices are, she's more sane.
Right. She's better able
because
to control it.
Yeah, because she's not schizophrenic. She's like, okay, these are actual voices. It's not something in my head.
Right. So as they sit there, Tana gets serious and asks Nia to read her mind. When Nia does this, she sees death coming for them and destroying everything in its path. Tana tells Nia that she's been having this vision for the past few days and feels like they're all going to die. But in this vision, they both see a little drop of water that has magic and might hold off death. Tana tells Nia that that drop of water is Nia and that Tana thinks Nia is the Lady of the Lake. There hasn't been a Lady of the Lake for thousands of years. But in order for them to find out if that's true about Nia, Nia must pass the culling and they must keep Nia hidden from the Fae King because he will eventually find out about her and try to kill her. But in the meantime, Tana tells Nia that she can't tell anyone what they just talked about, even Raphael.
We said this in part 1, but it's so refreshing to read about a character who has actual friends. Female friends.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm here for it so much.
And friends that like, I mean, I was going to say don't serve a purpose, but like, they're not a guard. They're not, I guess what I'm looking for is they're not staff, right? Like you are equals ostensibly and you decided to become friends. Exactly.
And it's just, it's very nice. And it's a very natural friendship and I just love it.
Yeah.
Every time we see them together.
So we next see Nia meeting Raphael for Sentinel training, but it's in one of the libraries instead of his office this time. He tells Nia that he wanted to share the space with her because he always does his clearest thinking there and thinks that she might too. We learn that Nia has been getting better at wielding her powers on demand, but she's still having trouble with her diametric powers being erratic. She describes them in colors now. Sentinel is red and the mind-reading telepathy is purple. As she visualizes the powers within her, she can start to see the weaving together of other magic like the veil as well, which I really liked. We saw magic being described as like woven patterns in Serpent and Dove, and I also really liked that description of magic. It felt really logical.
Yeah, this was really appealing to me and kind of like picking it apart or focusing on one versus the other. It also made me think of I think we get this imagery in Onyx Storm, but where like Tarn's power is like these really strong spiky threads and Andarno's is like softer and gentler. And we kind of get that like erratic spikiness of the mind reading versus the Sentinel Red being more of like a consistent force almost. And I really liked that.
Yeah, me too. So during a pause in their training, Raphael asks Nia why she never feels the need to tell Raphael what he wants to hear. She tells him, quote, "Because there's no point in pretending with you, is there? I heard what you thought of me. Trash was the word that got me, actually. You referred to my mother and me as trash. Yes, this was a long time ago, and no, I'm not over it. I overheard everything. And I don't blame you, not after one of my mother's spectacles, but I don't see why I had to be included." End quote.
Which I love that she actually says this to him, because it's like what we're going to get right here is that it's the perfect use of a miscommunication trope. It's perfect.
Yes, it's great. It's
I
perfect.
love it. It's stunning. I love it this year. And I also really like how relatable it is of like, I know this was a decade ago, but no, I'm not over it. I'm still upset.
You hurt my feelings.
And I'm mad about it.
Right. But I also love that this is, I mean, we'll talk about the miscommunication trope in a second, but like, you're right. This is one of the only miscommunication tropes that I like, besides the one where they both like each other and they don't want to say anything. Because in this situation, they're both right and they're both hurt about it.
Yeah. Because they're both right and they're both wrong. They both saw it the wrong way.
Correct. So let's get into this. So Raphael denies saying anything like that, but Nia tells him that she remembers it and it doesn't make it less true if he thinks he didn't do it. He protests that what he meant was that rich people like Nia don't hang out with poors like him. He tells her that he was never rich and that he worked at the vineyard. He didn't visit it. He tells her that that summer after he kissed her, her mother took him aside and basically warned him off and said that he's not good enough for Nia. Oof. Oof. So they both realize that they've completely got the wrong idea about the other. And I love that so much.
I love that because this whole time, Nia thinks that Raphael was like this rich kid, this rich demi-fae that was there. And obviously Nia and her mom were trash because her mom was just like drunk and looking for a rich husband all the time. But like, oh, I love this switch. And Nia's like, bitch, I'm poor too.
Right. And they both kind of like, they don't bond over it, but they're both like, okay, great. We're both poor. Cool. Glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah. And that coming full circle on the miscommunication of like, neither of us are who we thought the other person was.
Right. Yeah.
I just loved it.
The other thing that I liked about this was that it demonstrates some of the kind of subtext in the culture too, because like Raphael's a demi-fae and he and his friends are demi-fae and they're gorgeous. They have like the fae thing going on where like they're just way too beautiful to look at. And Nia is ostensibly, or thought that she wasn't. Like she still very much has the identity of like, I'm just a lowly human, like wah. And so like being excluded from the beautiful people, in addition to be calling, like to overhear somebody calling you trash, like I feel like it's just a double gut punch.
Yes. And then so it makes sense that she would hold on to that for years, because I would too. And
Same.
Raphael goes on to like correct, like, okay, yeah, my friend did call you trash, but if you had listened to the rest of the conversation, like I argued that. Like I didn't let that stand. And I believe that.
I do too. And I can totally see like vividly how like saying, oh, people like them don't hang out with people like us could be taken in so many different ways.
There's so many ways to take that. And I like that. Like I said, this is the perfect miscommunication trope that I would usually hate, because they both fully understand what happened and see like we were both right to be upset and we were both wrong.
Correct. Yeah. The other thing that I love about this is that Raphael says, okay, can we forget about that and start over?
Yeah.
Like he is fully willing to be like, oh, great. You don't hate me. Like, can we
awesome
not talk about this ever again?
Right. Like, you don't hate me. I don't think you're trash. Can we just move on? Because that would make things so much easier.
On top of that, he's like, because I have something to show you. And it just read like he's thrilled, like so chuffed that like this is the situation.
Yeah. It made me so happy.
I know. So Nia's like, yeah, okay, we could do that.
Just move on. This is great.
And so he says that he wants to show her a secret place in Camelot. And so he takes her through a hall with a bunch of pictures in it. And they briefly have a conversation about a portrait of Mordred. So remember, he's the dude that actually killed Arthur.
And supposedly went crazy with his diametric powers, right?
Exactly. Right. Thousands of years ago. And Nia asks whether it's true that Mordred had diametric powers, and that's why he massacred everybody at Camelot. Raphael tells her that it has more to do with the prophecy than his power. So this is even in the same breath. He's like, oh, people with diametric powers go crazy. But then he's like, no, this had more to do with like a prophecy, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, which is it?
Propaganda?
Propaganda.
Got it. Cool.
But he says that's why Oberon and his son must be killed, because this prophecy essentially says that the House of Morgan is going to slay everybody at Camelot and burn it to the ground. Cool. So they get to the end of this hallway, and he reveals a secret passageway that leads to the tower of Nimue, who was the last lady of the lake. Raphael tells Nia that Merlin and Nimue were in love and rumored to have a child. But after a while, Merlin became too human, and Nimue thought he betrayed her, so she sealed him in an oak tree, and he was never seen again, which is my preferred level of petty.
Yeah, that was great. And now it's like, and Arthur haunts the oaks.
Yeah. So we learn after Mordred killed Arthur, the humans defeated the Fae in battle, and Mordred took baby Oberon and his mages and created the Vale and the Fae realm, to which they fled.
Bye.
So Nia and Raphael end up outside on one end of a bridge that leads to Nimue's tower in the center of the lake. They sit on the wall of this bridge and talk. Nia talks about her life is flying past her, and she can barely get a handle on it, to the point that it's tough for her to relax. When Raphael asks her about that whole thing, she deflects and asks about his family instead. When he tells her about his half-human mother, we learn that they were both targeted because Oberon blames all of his failures on humans, and as a result, his mother was killed during a raid on their house. During that raid, Raphael also lost his sister, but he's unsure if she's still being kept prisoner somewhere or if she's dead. But he knows that his mother was killed because he watched it happen.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But
Nia gets sad, and Raphael tries to keep her, Nia gets sad, and Raphael tries to help her with his healing magic, but then ends up distracting her by jumping into the lake. She jumps in with him, and they have a magical moment under the stars in this lake, and Nia is desperately trying to not fall in love with him.
Oh, again.
They swim toward the shore and share a kiss on the banks of the lake, despite her being like, this is a bad idea. But even though the kiss is magical and wonderful and everything, Raphael pulls away and apologizes, saying that because of the rules of the school, he never should have kissed her and won't ever again.
This is where I was kind of mad at Nia.
Why were you mad at Nia?
Because you have it on the next line, but she basically, her inner monologue is like, oh, he's just gonna ghost me again like he did the first time. And I'm like, yeah, but he explains it to her. I feel like he gives enough information of it's not that I don't want this, it's that I can't afford to lose my job. I have to be here because I have nothing else.
Yeah.
And I wasn't mad at her, but her whole oh, he just ghosts people, he's just a heartbreaker, this is just what he does. I'm like, I thought we moved past this, girl.
Yeah, I can see that, but I also totally get that from the perspective of that's the story you tell yourself, right?
Yeah, and I do get that. It was very relatable. I just felt bad for Raphael because I'm like, but he's not a heartbreaker. He's got nowhere else to go. He can't afford to lose this.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. And I also just I like this kind of conflict between
Me too.
love interests. This is so much more relatable to me than I'm not going to tell you about my father potentially invading your country because I was sold as your bride and that's been the plan all along. Looking at you, Bridge Kingdom.
Yeah, I'm not here for that. But this push and pull of we want each other, but for totally valid reasons we can't be together.
Yeah.
That doesn't change our feelings though.
Yeah. So we next see the pair of them on a mission, and this time they are approaching the Vale by sea. They are attempting to break into the Dreamstalker's palace. This Dreamstalker's name is also Prince Talon. And their mission is to find maps that hold the location of military installations as well as potential information about Raphael's sister. They're on this mission with two others, Freya and Vivian, and they arrive at the docks of the palace and go their separate ways. Freya is acting like a maid, and Vivian is acting like a new performer, while Raphael and Nia are acting as a married couple.
Immediately I was like, yes, that is how you should act. Excellent. Can't wait to see where this goes.
I know. And then it was a bit of a cock block because like they didn't...
It was such a cock block.
Yeah.
Because they do the whole sitting on
they
the
don't
lap
do anything.
thing. I know, and I was like, come on, give me more. And like, okay, to be clear, the Dreamwalker's palace is classically like full of orgies and stuff. So that's why I was like, yeah, you are. You're a couple. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then we didn't quite get there, but it's fine.
It's fine. But I also appreciated that this palace was full of orgies, and I was like, okay, cue the public sex scene. But it's not actually that.
No, it's just like a cabaret that's like sexy.
Yeah, like and there's like definitely nudity and like sexual things happening, but we don't get the detailed description of it like we do in like A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor, for example.
Yeah, and even what is shown, so like when I was in Vegas, we went to one of those Cirque du Soleil shows that was like risque. It reminded me of that. Like there's nudity, it's sexual, but they're not having sex on stage.
Right. So Raphael and Nia go through the front door with forged invitations. And once they're inside, they watch the show like everyone else. And like we mentioned, it's a cabaret, but it's not like the public sex act thing.
Thankfully.
But the group is soon joined by the Dreamstalker himself. He's described as having eyes that are nearly black with long black lashes, thick brows, tan skin, and high cheekbones. And of course, he's got tattoos that are snaking up his neck. I have to ask you, what the fuck do you think about this Dreamstalker?
Okay, so I needed to talk about him too. I thought he was really hot. Like
I know.
I was immediately like, yep, let's go. And I know we get information like he tortures people. That honestly didn't bother me.
Well, look, we've read books where war criminals are the main love interest. Like that, I'm not fazed.
I was immediately into him, and I was immediately into him, and then I was thinking about part 1 where we were hypothesizing that Nia was either Oberon's daughter or the Dreamstalker's daughter, and I was like, I can't have her be the Dreamstalker's daughter because that's too creepy for me, because I'm kind of shipping them now.
Yes. Okay. Yes. This is why I'm so glad you're here now. I'm
welcome.
I'm convinced that they're going to be a thing in some way, shape, or form.
I think so too, which means that I don't want them to be related.
Yeah, but I don't, but that, okay, so, because originally I was like, well, clearly, like, Oberon or the Dreamstalker is Nia's dad. Now I don't know. But she's got diametric powers, so she's got to be somebody important, like, kid, because, like, only those, like, it's like Merlin and Arthur and, like, the Oberon Morgan family, and, like, that's it.
And that's it. And there's like some part of the prophecy is also has to do with like her parentage. I feel like that was alluded to in part 1. Like she is the daughter of someone, right? Capital S. So,
plus, but like, I was the Dreamstalker has like talks like about sex and like dreamy, sexy things like in Nia's brain all the time.
So yeah, like we'll come back to that, but we got it then in part 1 where she gets this like sultry voice that's like sometimes really violent and sometimes really sexy and sometimes turns her on, and I was like, this cannot be her father or her brother. Like,
no, thank you,
because I want them to fuck. So,
right. But then what does that mean for? Do you think it's a reverse harem?
Ooh, I just got tingles. I don't know, because like there's a lot of chemistry between Nia and Talon I feel like we get in this scene, even though like don't really directly interact, but like all of the way he talks to her sounds like a lot of chemistry, and I don't think she's not feeling it. So I don't know, but I don't get reverse harem vibes from this book somehow.
Well, and it's also like, I mean, I'll look it up just to make sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this has the reverse harem tag on Goodreads.
No, and I don't think so either. I would have clocked that.
Right. I feel like it would otherwise.
I feel like it would too. So I just had a thought and I lost
interested.
I don't know. I really see them being a thing. So the only like kind of caveat to it is we do get information that the Dream Stalker is, I mean, but it could also be a red herring, but that he's really violent and is prone to torture, and like his relations can kind of go either way, where like it's either really sexy fun time or it's just like really drawn out brutal torture. So I kind of see her getting kidnapped and them getting it on, and then she has to be like saved. I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm so intrigued, and I love this because I don't know. It's definitely scratching the itch, and I know we talk about this all the time, but the second High Mountain Court book with the evil duder who was like, well, you know, we could be a thing, right? Like it's scratching that itch for me.
It's scratching that where I'm like, you could be a thing. You should be a thing.
You should do it. Do it.
Do it. Do it.
I'm sure Raphael will be fine with it. Do it.
Do it. Also, he can't be with you anyway because like jobs or whatever. So do it.
Rules or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, girl. And especially after we got this description, I was like, there's no fucking way that they're not going to be.
He's too sexy.
Yeah.
He's too fucking attractive for it to not be a thing. And the fact that she actively tells us, I've been falling asleep to the sound of his voice for years, and sometimes it's really turned me on. I'm like, we got to lean into that. We got to lean into that.
Raphael's your childhood love, but this guy is in your head.
Well, and also, I just had this thought. Okay, so we're not there. So, but I'm going to say it now because I will forget. We get, or maybe it was in part 1. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think it was in part 1. We'll just start over. We got the information in part 1. I have now remembered where it was when she did the tarot reading for her, that there was like a lover from the past. Prince Talon has been in her head this whole time. Maybe they weren't lovers, but like she's been reading between the lines. She's definitely masturbated to the sound of his voice.
Yes.
That could be someone from the past.
That is super interesting. Oh my gosh. I did not put those two things together.
It just came to me.
Oh my gosh. I'm like giddy over this possibility. Like, I love Raphael. I love that dynamic. Cool.
I'm happy if that works for them. However, I immediately with Prince Talon, I was like, oh, we're here now. Because it's not what I thought he was going to be like.
No, I thought he was going to be like scary.
I thought he was going to be really scary. And like older.
Or it was going to go the other way and he was going to be just like a little drip of a guy. And like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, but kind of like a Lucius Malfoy, like just like a simpering mean dude.
Correct. Yeah.
But oh boy, he's not that.
No, he's not. So anyway, let's talk about what happens here. So Prince Talon's here. Raphael and Nia are in the audience, right? And so one of the acts comes up and it's a group of sirens and they start singing their song and entrancing the entire audience. And initially Nia is caught up in this too, but Raphael drags her out of it, saying that she needs to stay alert because he wants to check out where one of the guards went. So he leaves her alone. And on her own, Nia uses telepathy to feel out the room, and eventually she hears the voice of the prince and realizes that it's that deep, sensual voice that she's heard since she was young. So we kind of like jumped the shark here a little bit, but she very quickly is like, oh fuck, I am so boned. This is not good for me.
That's him. Nope.
But to her, it makes sense because he's known as the Dream Stalker, and like she kind of sees that as he's like willfully walking across everybody's minds all the time in their sleep.
Yeah.
But as she has this realization, he becomes aware of her mental presence and searches for her, delving into her emotions and her memories. Nia has to physically distance herself from the prince to break the spell. And when she does this, the prince leaves the room as well, and Nia knows that she needs to warn Freya, who is currently searching Talon's room for maps. She's like, okay,
we gotta go.
Oh, fuck. I forgot where I was for a second.
My bad.
So she goes upstairs and meets her. So Nia goes upstairs and meets with Freya, only to find out that her search was fruitless. So they all meet back up with Raphael and Vivian, and Nia tells them that they need to leave. But Raphael is determined to search one more place for the maps, and so the others stay to help. Nia ends up back in the main party room and decides to search the minds around her for information. As she does, she becomes increasingly lost in a sea of her own mind and and others, losing her identity amongst the minds that she reads.
This was so well done. I really love the way this was written because she's like walking through the crowd, like touching people and reading their memories. And as she goes, she literally forgets who she is and starts referring to herself as the people that she has mind read. And like, I have to get back to my body, but do I even have a body? I'm this guy. I'm this person. Oh no, I'm in love with that guy. Oh no, where am I? And it was just like it was so creepy. Like I felt that like loss of identity.
Yeah, it was really well done. And it's something that like I've never considered or encountered in books that like people have mind reading powers, but it feels like a very natural consequence of doing that.
Yeah, it really does.
So Raphael finds Nia almost babbling, but she's able to grasp herself enough to tell him that one of the people like that she looked into their minds has the maps, and it's Talon's cousin. So Raphael grabs that man's purse, essentially, and they hoof it out of the room to meet up with the others. He just like scoops the bag and is just like, cool, got the maps now. Let's go.
Let's go. Also, I don't think we mentioned it, but Raphael goes a little bit rogue here because he thinks, I mean, they're getting the maps for their own mission, but he also thinks that the maps might point to where his sister's being kept.
Right. Yeah. So he's getting emotionally involved in the mission.
Yeah. So like they should have left by now, but he couldn't let it go.
Yeah. So they meet up with the others, but Nia is a mess and delays them. We learned that reading one mind is dangerous enough, but she read dozens, and the fact that she's not mad is astonishing. Again, do you go mad or not?
I know, because they were saying like maybe 2 or 3 is the upper limit, and she's like, I think it was 12 plus Nia. Oh, I'm Nia. Like it's this whole like, it's still very confusing, and I was here for the whole description of this.
Same. And I love how Vivian's like, there's no way, you're wrong. And Nia's like, no, it was definitely more than that. She's like, and Vivian's like, no, it was 3. And Nia's like, nope, it was like 12.
And she's like, I will name all of them. And that's where we get the like, so it was 13. Oh, also this person, Nia. I'm Nia. Nia is me. That doesn't count. So it was 13 minus Nia.
And Vivian's like, can you get your shit together?
And she's like, actually, no.
No, I can't, actually.
I'm doing my best.
I think this is also the first time that Vivian and Freya get like know that she has this second power, and Raphael's like, yeah, oh, sorry about it.
We were trying to hide that.
Yeah. Oh. Don't worry, she's fine. She'll be fine. Look at her, she's fine. And Nia's just like
and they're like, well, we can't get past the veil without her, so
yeah,
get your shit together, girl.
So they all finally start heading for the docks, but they realize pretty quickly that they're trapped in a dreamscape crafted by the prince, and he is actively looking for them. So physically, they haven't been caught yet, but they need to break out of the dream in order to keep it that way. In this struggle, Nia ends up tangling her 2 diametric powers together and aims that force at the prince's mind, and that releases all of them from their slumber.
Which also you just super drew attention. Like, yes, they escape, but I feel like if anything, Prince Talon is even more interested in you because she like mentally hurts him.
Yes. And I'm so interested because if Nia has been hearing his brain, his like voice, whatever, has he been hearing hers? And
I don't know.
Now with this like sucker punch to your brain hole, like if he's been hearing her voice too, and she just did this, like he's got to be so into it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so curious. I fear that we won't get it in this book. I'm gonna have to wait till the second book, but I'm already in for the second book. Yep. Even just being halfway done here. Like, yep,
totally.
Sign me up. Unless some like tomfoolery happens in the last 6 chapters, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm also in. So this time the group is actually able to head to the actual docks, not like the dream docks. And Nia is certain that Talon didn't actually see her, which is her only saving grace. So he just saw her memories and like heard her thoughts, didn't like see her physical form. Nor did he see anybody else that like is a spy. He just saw like essentially Nia's mom.
Yeah.
So once they launch from the dock, they see ships approaching and realize that Talon knew where they were headed because of this dream that he caught them in. But they're able to evade them and get across the veil safely, maps in hand. Awesome.
Which just goes for how strong Nia is, that she could read dozens of people's thoughts and then still be able to rein in her veil powers without like dying from magic overload.
Exactly, which right now makes it feel like she's exceptional and like she's got big chosen one vibes. So like I that could be true, but it could also be that the diametric powers like thing has been exaggerated.
Exactly, and that they just kind of feed each other. So she's not necessarily exceptional. She just is powerful.
Right.
Without being chosen one.
Mm-hmm. So 4 days later, Nia sits in Rythe's class and is still dealing with the after effects of reading so many minds in the Dreamstalker's palace. Rythe is talking about the Veil and how Oberon employs mages to keep it alive. This lecture is in service of a field trip that most of the students are taking to see the Veil in person, since most of them are not like Nia and don't go on missions regularly. Nia, of course, will stay behind because she's seen the Veil plenty of times and has other things to worry about, like practicing for the culling. Nia is grateful for the breathing room, but admits that she'll miss her friends and roommates when they are gone.
Yeah.
As she leaves class with Tana and Serana, they talk about Raphael, and again, Nia avows that there's nothing between the two of them. Like, I don't know why we're talking about it. Besides, he's clearly with Ginevra, that other Pendragon bitch.
Also, she's not with anyone because he's not allowed to be.
Right. Why would he be with Ginevra and not you, Nia? Come on.
Girl. I know, that's where my brain went. This was the second time where I was like, Nia. Nia. But I get it. I get the jealousy. I get it.
Also, do we learn what Nia is short for?
No.
Because I know in the beginning, like one of those guards like reads her passport. I just don't remember what her name was.
Oh, you're right. Maybe we do find out what her name was. I don't remember if we see it or not.
Because I had that thought of like maybe her real name like has like gives us information about like her future kind of thing.
Oh yeah, especially if we're in this like Arthurian place.
Right, exactly. I'm going
Try
back
and search.
really quick.
He just says Nia.
Okay.
So that just might be her name.
Interesting. Okay. I have a suspicion that it's short for something.
Me too. Yeah, but I'm looking at in the chapter 2 and he just writes it as Nia Melisande.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I wonder if we'll find that out, but I don't know.
I'm so curious. Or if she has like a middle name. Yeah.
So they're walking out of class, right? And Tana tells Nia to focus on the culling. And it's clear from Tana's visions that like they're still warning her of danger and that death is stalking their every move.
Oops.
So while the others are on the field trip, Nia is alone in her room one night and she tries to write a letter to her mother. The last one that she got from her mom is a piece of work and threatened that she couldn't live without Nia. Literally.
Like threatening suicide. Straight up.
Right. As Nia tries to write, she finds that nothing feels natural. She ends up standing from her desk, which turns into a series of fantastical events that quickly let Nia know that she is dreaming. Then she hears the Dreamstalker's voice that is essentially like, I found you, right? And Nia can feel his anger and glee at having finally located her.
And he calls her like little telepath. And I'm just like, the little part just makes it so endearing.
I know. It's like,
I
okay.
found you, little telepath. I was like, ooh. It's like calling her kitten. I don't know.
And then also it's like, why are you so obsessed with me?
Exactly. Like, hey.
I just broke your mind. Don't worry about it.
It's fine. I'm just going to rock your fucking world.
So as this dream gets worse and worse, a shadow appears with dark blue eyes, the same as the prince's eyes. And this makes her jolt awake in fear. But when she does, the real shadows in her real room move and she realizes that she is not alone.
But alas, it is not Prince Talon.
Alas, it's not a sexy not alone thing because it's an assassin.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
So this assassin has come to assassinate her and she immediately springs into action. It quickly becomes apparent that this is no ordinary assassin either, but a veil mage who intends to use that to kill her. In their scuffle, she realizes that Raphael is on his way, but realizes that the mage knows this too. As Raphael charges through her door, she makes a snap decision to save Raphael using her powers at the expense of herself. In this moment, the assassin plunges a sword into Nia's stomach.
Oof.
Raphael slits the assassin's throat and immediately goes to Nia to heal her wounds, saying, quote, "I've got you, love. Don't worry. I've got you."
Oh, the love of it all. So good.
But also, I want both. I want Raphael and the Dreamstalker.
I want both. Preferably
Yeah.
at the same time, but I'll take it if it's separate too.
That's fine. Yep.
It's fine.
So it takes a while, but Raphael is able to heal her right there in her room with a dead assassin on the floor.
Don't worry about it.
I also loved in this entire scene, until we leave her room, they are both hyper aware that there's a dead man in the room. And I think that's really funny and relatable.
It's so relatable because I feel like so often in these we just kind of bypass all of the death and murder, but like they're
Right.
sitting right next to someone who is bleeding out from the throat. Like,
Yep.
it's fine. And he didn't like phase out. Like, it's a dead body just fully laying next to them.
And at some point, Raphael's like, "I have to deal with this, so I'll see you in a minute."
Later.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
So when she's healed, Raphael takes her to her bathroom to clean the blood off and make sure that the wound is actually sealed. He gives her privacy while she bathes and changes. But then when he inspects her clean, unblemished abdomen, he tells her that she's perfect.
Oh.
He ends up kissing her again and tells her that she'll sleep in his room so he can ensure her safety since the castle is almost empty. Then he tells her that she needs to get dressed before he makes more of a mistake.
Because she's just in a towel and he comes in and is like, "Can I see your stomach?" And she's like, "Okay," and just like drops the towel at least to her waist. Like,
And he's like,
and then I
okay.
wanted more of the one bed trope. Ugh, we're getting there. But I was like, yeah.
I know, I did too. So they go to his room, right? And they're getting ready to go to sleep. And Nia looks out the window and sees another woman with red hair being escorted by guards. And Raphael tells her that that's the other sentinel that they have, and that he gave word for her to be moved and more closely guarded after the attack on Nia. And then we get to the one bed trip, right? Because they're in Raphael's room. Why would he have more than one bed? He doesn't have a roommate. But Raphael stays stoically on the ground.
They could at least have cuddled. Come on.
I know. As they fall asleep, though, Nia does ask if there's any way to guard against the Dreamstalker. And Raphael's like, "No, I think the only way you can do that is by not attracting his attention." And she's like, "Cool, I am so fucked. Awesome."
I am beyond fucked.
Yeah. I have. That ship has sailed.
Yep. Sailed years ago, actually.
Yeah. And to my horror, years ago. So a month passes and Nia is left alone by the Dreamstalker, actually. And so she only has the culling to worry about. The only one of the tests in the culling that she's actually not worried about is the written test because she's super smart. But everything else is a toss-up.
nerd.
She's like, there's no way to know.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
In preparation for the culling, she attends the combat trial of fellow students and watches as one of Tarquin's lackeys fights another student that Darius is infatuated with. The judges, Vivian, Rythe, and another professor named Aemon, don't call off this fight, though, until Tarquin's guy kills the other student. And Nia realizes just how savage the culling can be.
And I don't know about you, but this is when I realized it too. Like, people have died in this book, but this scene was so brutal that it was kind of like, oh shit, no, like, we're here.
Yeah.
This is a problem.
It also felt like kind of like it felt weird, right? Like, and even in the scene, it's described as like Vivian and Aemon are like wanting to call the thing off, but they have to have like a unanimous decision. And Rythe is the one that doesn't want to call off the fight.
Yeah, which is...
And so like he is creepily single-handedly, I mean, not single-handedly, but like he's very complicit in the murder of this other student.
Yeah, it's so... Again, the scene is really well delivered because it does show all of that. Like, Nia clocks Vivian and Aemon like arguing and whispering with Rythe, and he's just kind of ignoring them until it's too late.
Yeah. And it's also bizarre because like the culling is described as having 4 tests, right? And so physical combat is only one of them, but you can't go through the rest of the culling if you die in the fight. And even I think it was Tana or Sarana, I forget which one, is like, yeah, there's no way that they would want their students to die in the physical one. Like, that just seems like a waste.
Yeah, because even if you don't get high marks, like there's still other jobs to have.
Right.
Why would you kill off your class? Also, Writhe is a Pendragon, so he's related to Tarquin, right? Is like his uncle or something.
He's his uncle.
Gross. Which also feels like not allowed. I don't know. He shouldn't be able
Conflict
to be
of
a
interest.
judge.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. So yeah, Nia, the reality of the situation crashes down on Nia, and that is where we're going to end part 2.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Join us in 2 weeks for the stunning conclusion of Avalon Tower.
I'm so here for it, and I'm so excited to finish reading it. I want to know what happens. I'm sure it's going to end on a major cliffhanger, and I'm going to be so mad about it.
But we at least have book 2, and I think there's going to be a third book too.
Yes, I think
so. I'm here for it.
I'm super here for it.
But yeah, girl. I mean, those are our thoughts on part 2 of Avalon Tower. Thank you for joining us on this journey, as you always do. Let us know what you thought on the socials. You can find us on Goodreads and TikTok at Spice Readers Pod. And of course, you can find us on Patreon, where we will release Patreon exclusive content. So if you really like the sound of our voices and our hot takes, join us on over there. We would really appreciate it. And if you really like us, leave us a review wherever you listen. But until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.